right, whatever day it is, this is the cup. This is take two. I did a pottery rescue on the last one because it was a fail. It was a big fail. So we're going to try this again. We're going to center pretty low, pretty wide and pretty low. But we're going to try to make, I'm going to try to make kind of a volcano shaped cone because the last time I made a straight up and down cylinder and the top ruffled. So we'll see it, we'll try. See what we can do. I also did not, after my fail, I decided against using recycled clay. This is fresh off the block, so we'll see if that helps. Because I am very tired. Tomorrow is my last day of school, and it's a week. That's my whole prep period today, doing grading, which is always exciting. All right, let's try this. All right, open her up. Okay, then we're going to pull a pretty wide foot. I'm going to go in with my rib, my wooden rib, and I'm going to push down. I'm going to use this on the outside to turn a corner so that the wall will go straight up now. All right. So here we go. Let's see how it goes. I'm so happy with this non-recycled clay. I think that's been my problem for the last 3 or 4 days. And I knew it, and I kept right on throwing with it. I'm nothing if not in denial some days. Alright, so again, we're going to kind of cone inward, creating a volcano shape, right? Because this can be turning straight up and down, but then it needs to go in because the top is quite narrow relative to the base. And if I'm not careful, it won't look like that. Earlier, I decided I didn't like this shape very much. We'll see if it's any better when it's not kind of wonky and off center. Okay. When I cut off that edge, I'm cutting straight down instead of undercutting because I don't want any undercut with this cut. The wall is going to go relatively, not quite straight, but relatively straight up and down. Okay, so let's do one more pull for height here. Because if you notice, whenever you start manipulating the walls and making it wider and pushing them out, it makes it shorter because that's what it does. You have a given amount of wall, and if you push it out, it's going to make the whole thing shrink down. Okay, so now let's look at this. We're going to bring this wall out pretty straight up to about there, maybe. And then we're going to gradually curve in, and then we're going to have to collar in the top. Okay, so let's take my trusty yellow rib. Well, I think actually I'm going to start by collaring in up here so that I can make the curve that I want. Okay, so then I'm going to make it kind of roundy, and then we're going to push in here, pushing in with our rib so that it is smaller. Keep pushing in. That's taller than I was expecting. Okay, so we're going to push out or down here a little bit more. Try to keep it relatively straight up and down here. Then we're going to push in up here. I'm going to want to trim off this top. It's way too tall. My guess is that I got rather more than a pound on the wheel because that's really pretty big. So I'm going to trim off about right here. All right. Then we're going to try it was making a funny noise. I hope that isn't indicative of anything bad. We're gonna make it flare just a hair here at the where you're gonna drink the lip. Feels like it should go in a bit more. I'm a little worried about how narrow it's gonna be, but okay. It's gonna be really stable with that wide base like that. And remember, they used to make travel mugs that were like this, that were really weighted on. They weren't ceramic, I don't think, but I remember them being really wide at the bottom, like that. The idea that you could just set it anywhere and it would stay stable. They had lids. This will not have a lid. Okay, I'm gonna push in this bottom just a hair, because while I did not draw that, I don't. It's just my drawing, and I would like it to be semi-attractive, and I feel like I'm going to do just a tiny undercut. It feels too wide to me. It feels not. I don't know. I think it will be better if it has a little bit narrower bottom than that. But I'm going to try not to, because my gut level reaction is to make it round, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make it flat. But, okay. There we are. Whatever day it is, that's today.